Hey, I'm Dan Kelley, member of inactive bands like Ben Diesel, The Wingmen, Jason Detroit, The Dogfathers, but active quarantine bands like Googolplexia and the North County 3, and In Tow to Guatemala from Texas, and my own self-serving punk rock acoustic covers on the Trusty Chords Facebook group. Yeah, that's me. And I guess my hetero life mate Jason, he'll show up whenever he has time for us. But thanks to the glory of the internet, you are not only listening to, you are watching. Shane, give me lasers when I do this. Watching Rock Paper Podcast.
Hi, I'm Jason Koch of non-performing bands Ben Diesel, Jason Detroit, and Smash Mouth. I'm a 2-time state yelling champion, and I hope to one day find a big box of money. And you're watching / listening to Rock Paper Podcast.
Rock Paper Podcast.
Scissors beat paper, paper covers rock. Rock beats scissors, Shane covers non-stop. Never know what new kind of guest that he's got coming at you. Live and direct on the spot, could be rock, folk, country, or hip-hop, jazz. All kind of folks that he has. Could be an artist or a comedian to make you laugh on the
Rock Paper Podcast.
double-decker fudge round, rolling round town. Shane coming at you live and direct from ground zero. He's your hero, he's your bestie. Rock Paper Podcast with Shane Presley.
Rock Paper Podcast.
Hey everybody, Shane Presley here, Rock Paper Podcast, coming to you from St. Louis, Missouri, hanging out on Zoom with my buddies Dan Kelley and Jason Koch. Welcome to the show, guys.
How's it going?
Hi.
This is cool. I'm glad to be here with you guys, getting to see your pretty faces.
It's
Future is now.
It looks like you've gotten yourself a haircut way more recently than either of us.
Oh yeah, I did the old porch cut, man.
Nice.
Yeah, me and I did most of it myself, and then Stacy got home from work and she helped me clean up the back where I couldn't see. But yeah, I haven't had to do that in a while, but it's working.
Yeah.
It's
Just trying to keep the neck beard at bay. Other than that, it's just
right.
Whatever.
I told Nikki I'm not going to cut my hair until I have to go back to polite society and be reintegrated. So it's just going to get progressively more terrible. My hairline is awful everywhere. So I'm excited. Just to see what happens. It's going to be awful.
Yeah, I thought about going that route, just letting it go and just come out of quarantine looking like some kind of crazy mountain man or whatever. But I don't know. I got annoyed with it, and I was like, it's got to go. And so took the clippers out.
I feel like I'm going to look like unfrozen caveman lawyer from back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll just put on a suit and go and be like, I'm just a caveman.
Yeah.
Your office is strange and scary to me.
Yeah, man. Classic. R.I.P. Phil Hartman.
Big ups.
Yeah. Pour one out. Speaking of that.
Well, why didn't you say so?
Speaking of that, has everybody got their Twisted Tea at home?
Odd man out here. No Twisted Tea.
And we really should
Surprisingly.
go for a sponsorship, I think.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so refreshing.
So refreshing.
I think that's exactly the key demographic they're looking for to sponsor, honestly. Their target market it's locked in.
A local podcast featuring friends hanging out on Zoom.
Yeah, man. You gotta make sure to label out right there.
Yeah.
Label out. Am I facing the right way or am I mirrored?
It looks good.
Okay.
You got the tall boy also?
Sure did. That's the only way to go.
Yeah, man.
The Twisted Tea, the 12-ounce. Nah.
No. Get out
Big
of
gulps,
here
huh?
Yeah.
Well, see you later.
See you later.
But yeah, I just thought this would be fun to catch up with you guys. Obviously, I haven't seen you in forever, and of course, I thought this would be fun. A little happy hour, everybody grab a beverage and have a little fun and
Absolutely.
catch up a little bit.
Thought the timing was extra appropriate because I think it was yesterday that picture showed up in our feed from the Good Charlotte show last year.
Oh
Yeah.
That was awesome.
That was a fun time.
It's crazy to think about being at shows. I know I have tickets to the Rage Against the Machine concert, and I got rescheduled to July of next year, which is pretty wild that it's already that far out. But then I saw a venue in Arkansas is already starting to talk about opening again for concerts, and tickets I think are like they're allowing tickets are slashed by 80% or whatever. So there's way less people going there, and they're all supposed to be socially distanced. So I don't know if that means tickets are like way more expensive or first come, first serve, but it's going to be really interesting to see how, concerts going forward after all this.
Yeah.
It's going to be a while.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we'll be back in like clubs and stuff before too long. But yeah, definitely like those Rage Against the Machine arena shows and stuff.
Oh yeah.
So that makes sense for next year, I think. But like I had tickets to see Amanda Shires at Off Broadway on April 29th, and that also got rescheduled till April 29th of 21 now. So so that's also next year too. So man, it's weird. It's a really weird times.
I mean, really, if they're just trying to keep attendance down, I mean, we could play every night,
Yeah.
I mean, you couldn't keep a show to 10 or fewer people. I mean, just have us play.
Right.
I was actually thinking about becoming a concert date slumlord, and I'm just going to start buying up dates 2 or 3 years in advance and making people bid them out. Like, oh, you want Halloween night in 2023? That's going to be hard to get.
Right.
No one will respond to my email. It's okay. They're all going to be available.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to get back at it, man, because it's really been it's one thing I really miss. Like that's a big part of my life. Obviously, going to shows and working in the industry and everything too, and like so it's really weird not having that for 3 months now or something. So almost.
Yeah, man. I saw though that Oyster Bar's opening up for food again, though. At least doing the curbside, right?
Yeah. We'll they're starting. I think they stopped in like mid-March, like the 21st or something like that.
Yeah, they stopped pretty close to the beginning.
Yeah, and then now they're back with that. So at least I can go down there and get me some voodoo shrimp here soon.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think in one way, it's been kind of cool too to see. I feel like they're, even though people aren't playing out as much, that hasn't really led to less of an output from local people and various forms of art. Like, the community has really kind of thrived and done some really cool things. And I think it's kind of nice for some people who normally, would have to find the time to make time to be able to do their creative stuff, maybe have a little bit more time at their hands now to put stuff out. But, obviously that's a double-edged sword with everything else going on as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've said it a bunch on this show recently, how like, I do feel like that's one thing I've really appreciated is everybody's like new ways of being creative and stuff during this time. And, people, my buddy Cody Henry of Funky Brass Band started a game show and
that's really fun.
Yeah. It's a lot of, he's guessing bass lines through a sousaphone and
that's so cool.
Yeah. It's so different stuff like that, just like coming up with ways to still engage with people and have fun with it. And so I've really enjoyed seeing those different type of things.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. But you, and then we also, you mentioned in all this got me thinking about that t-shirt you're wearing down there, Jason.
Daniel Hill for governor. He's got my vote.
Yeah, we even got people running for office and stuff in our community. So
yeah, I mean, I think anyone who I was telling someone the other day that he feels like St. Louis's Lester Bangs almost. Like he just has this like this kind of renegade like fun journalism to it, and I mean, I think it's so cool that he basically like woke up to an email saying he was furloughed, and eventually was just like, nah, I'm not. And then, I mean, it spearheaded like it just got everything back on its feet. And I thought it was so cool. Like, that's kind of leadership I want to see. Parsons didn't even wear a mask today or the other day when he went out. Like, get that clown out of here. Daniel Hill.
Yeah.
Daniel Hill, 2020.
He'll go out and wear a dinosaur suit and a mask, you know?
Absolutely.
I mean,
What was that? Did you see? Speaking of the creativity and stuff, like, did you see him in the hot dog suit, and then like somebody made like the Lego version of it in the hot dog suit?
Oh no, I haven't seen that.
yeah, I think Johnny Vegas did that.
Yeah,
That was awesome.
yeah, it was
Wasn't
really well done.
that was the story he did for the all you can drink bar, right? Like the hourly drinks.
Yeah,
It's a very St. Louis idea.
it's a very Dan Hill idea.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's awesome.
Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. Yeah, here it is.
He's gotten some stuff shared into like some really, really big publications and stuff too, which is awesome.
Yeah, the Lego hot dog Dan Hill. So good.
That's incredible.
I like even the guy in the background there.
Yeah, what am I doing there?
Yeah,
It was a perfect disguise. I don't know how it happened.
Here's the side by sides for anybody. Whoops.
It went away.
Pornhub.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
Don't worry about that.
Daniel may be dressed like a hot dog, but you're wearing a hot dog costume.
Yeah, really well done.
Random.
No, yeah, it's awesome. But yeah, I mean, I think it's cool to just watch that was like an idea that got floated, and within it seemed like a couple of days, like, Nicholas and button makers and all of them were involved in making, the buttons and stickers for it, and Matt F. Bowser had the shirt going, and it's just cool to see all that interconnectivity happen, and everyone, kind of trying to provide a safety net for each other as much as possible in various ways. It's cool, not a lot of people resting on their laurels. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, man. Also, speaking of shirts, I want to make sure everybody knows this.
Oh, yes. That's a sweet shirt right there.
Yeah, man.
The latest incestuous music collective with DK and Joey and myself.
Yeah, we're like Ben Diesel's done, and then Jason Detroit's same guys.
but with keyboards and saxophone and more things.
Sure, yeah. But we should give a shout out to Andy Binder on that design. That
Absolutely.
He does, we'll give him an idea. We'll be like, hey, we're thinking kind of, maybe something like this or this, and then he'll knock out a real cool design and throw it on some t-shirts. And
yeah, man,
he's real talented, real fast, real.
It was actually funny because he had worked with me on this design. Kind of came by the wayside because originally I had this idea for an Alicia's Pizza design. Because I love Alicia's Pizza. And I mean, it's a well-known St. Louis logo, and I don't really think anyone knows, or cares outside of it. I thought it was perfect for, what I was going for. And so I hit up Andy Binder and I was like, hey, I want to do this drawing, but first let me check with Alicia's. So I hit them up and I was like, hey, I'd really like to do a t-shirt based off your guys' design. I'm not going to make any money off of it, but anything I do, I'll give to a local charity of your choice or something. I just want to use your design. And they're like, well, yeah, let's see it drawn up. And then, we can, we'll talk about it. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I give it the go ahead to Binder. He gets it all drawn up, sends it over to me. It looks awesome. I'm so stoked on it. And I send it over to Alicia's and they're like, actually, we don't feel like, I don't know if maybe they listen to my EP and they're like, this guy sucks. But they're like, we don't want you to use our design at this time. Yeah. And, no hard feelings. Like, that's totally within their rights to do. But I was like, wow, shit. Like, I already paid for this drawing. And so I went back to Andy and he was totally cool about it. He's like, no worries, man. He's like, let's get you another design, get it set up at a discount. And basically, helped me out. The first Jason Detroit shirt was a ripoff of an old Detroit sports logo. So I said, why not do it again? And found an old Detroit Tigers logo. And then Andy took it from there. And he always knocks it out of the park. So major shout out to him and Iconic Inc. Look at that. Yeah.
Hey, knock it out of the park, man.
Funny guy. Whoa.
Whoa.
also, fun story with Andy is so I've in the past last summer when I was looking to do my latest run of T-shirts, and my buddy Nick helps me out a lot of times with doing my printing, and his machine like went down. Like he had ordered the shirts and he had everything ready to go, and we had a new design all ready to rock, and his machine went down that week, and it's like this is like Thursday before the show was on Saturday. And that's really the push was I was doing it for the party because I wanted to have them available for everybody. And he goes, "Oh man, I feel like shit, but I'm sorry, I'm not gonna be able to make it." And he's like, but I want to give you enough time to find somebody else that would. And I was like, so I immediately hit up Binder that night, and I was like, "Hey man, is there any way you'd be able to, save my ass on this?" And he's like, so he's like, "Yeah, man." So he worked up like the matched the same price, and I brought him it was Friday morning. And then I met up there with him. I dropped off the shirts, and by lunchtime he calls me. He's like, "All right, I got it done." And I'm like, so I was just like blown away by how fast he was, and it really just anyway. So I gave him a big shout out online, but I really appreciate him bailing me out that day because it would have been rough having all these shirts afterwards when I have nothing, no shows coming up to move them or anything. But so yeah, big help to him, man. And so I've been happy to pass along his name and information anytime I can because he's a good dude.
Yeah, and works quick, and he's very responsive. And I think I remember we did a Ben Diesel design with him a while back. That was I think I forget what it was, but we had like this colored palette we wanted for like an alien abduction scene, and we sent it out, and he came back to it super quick, and we really dug it. And then Joey was like, I think it was Joey, said he's like, it needs like drunk people under it getting abducted. And we sent that back to Andy, and within like 20-30 minutes he came back with like it was spot on. Yeah. He's right in that wheelhouse. So yeah, he's a good dude. And I've enjoyed we've performed with him with the Alkaline Quartet back in 2016 or something, or 17, which is like all Alkaline Trio covers, and that was like an early Ben Diesel show, I want to say, within the first couple of years of it. And then again, Modern Gold is also an amazing band too. So yeah, he's an all around talented cat, and handsome to boot. So I'm just hoping that he'll get an apartment with me after this is all said and done. Yeah, that's basically what I'm getting at.
Right. I really hope Modern Gold comes back, man. That was some good stuff too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here's that.
There we go.
Oh yeah,
with the drunk people dancing around in the alien abduction.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, I think I've also been the quarantine has been kind of interesting too, because I've always like talked about doing a home like studio setup and actually learning how to do it, but I've never done it because I've always had friends like DK or Joey who have way better recording setups and know what they're doing. So I'm definitely missing that recording stuff right now, but I know, DK's got a good setup and has been able to keep pumping out some tracks and doing some stuff as well. So I'm hoping to eventually get that going on.
So we got, speaking of Jason Detroit, you're working on some new stuff like that, you're saying, and this is, you want to leak a new song? Is this right?
Yeah, I guess I will. I'll give a sneak preview peek. That's a combination of those two words. I wrote a few years ago after like getting really into Waco, and it's a funny way to phrase that because I like into Waco sounds weird, but actually this past weekend Nikki and I were hanging out and someone had asked her like, "Hey, have you seen this new Waco documentary on Netflix?" And Nikki's like, "Oh yeah, actually my husband's like really into Waco." And I was like, Don't tell people I'm really into Waco. They're gonna get like a weird like militant vibe. It's not like that. But yeah, I just find the whole story of it interesting. I mean, how he basically like never finished school and went on to lead this cult of people, and I just think it's one of the craziest events of American history, really. So I wrote a song that was kind of from the perspective of David Koresh as like this messiah, like rock god, and it's called The Postman. So it was a really fun track to work on. I recorded it with Joey. It's got some extra, some nice stuff on there from Keith Maestas on organ. So it's it's a little bit different than some of the stuff on the last EP, but that's kind of been the goal, is to do a different sounding track each time and just kind of keep having fun with it. So we're hoping to have it out, I don't know, this year at some point.
Who knows?
At some point. It's like 85% done, but it's called the album is called Volume 3, and this track is called The Postman.
Nice, man. Yeah, I haven't really got too far into Waco yet, the Netflix series and stuff, but I guess it's on Netflix now. I think it was originally on Paramount Network or something, I think, right? Something like that.
Or A&E maybe. I think they did something like that. Yeah, something like that. It was a TV special.
But then, so now it's on Netflix. But I think I watched episode 1 so far. That's the only thing. I think I've got into yet. But but you were saying, or I had heard on online though, like this was like written by one of like the FBI guys or something like that. Like it's supposed to be like the most accurate depiction of this story and stuff so far. Something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I actually haven't really dug into it yet either. There's 2 like big documentaries that were produced in the I want to say like mid to late 90s. One of them is called Waco Rules of Engagement. And I think some of that was based off a guy who wrote a book about it. But, basically it was kind of overblown in like in various aspects. But one of the reasons, like the song is called "The Postman" because basically what happened was more or less that the ATF were up for a budget that year, so they brought along all these cameras for this raid that was just supposed to go really easy. Like everyone was supposed to, they were going to storm the complex. There wasn't going to be issues. It was going to be a big televised spectacle and kind of bolster that the ATF was, due for a bigger budget. And because the media wasn't obviously following ATF, but they were going to meet them there, someone asked this postal carrier where the Branch Davidian complex was, and the postal carrier was the cousin of David Koresh. So he called them and notified basically that was like, these people are on the way. But David Koresh had already known. Knew there was a mole in the operation for months. So, they were very prepared for it to come down, and they never expected it to turn into a, 40 some odd day standoff or whatever it was. So just this insane miscalculation that was put under the nation's eye that it never had to be. It could have just been an ATF raid with no cameras whatsoever. But, it's just, there's so many different facets of it. And FBI agents have gone back and analyzed because, there was a big investigation and all kinds of stuff. I could, I'm not going to talk about for the whole podcast because I could forever. But that documentary, if the Waco Netflix thing scratches your itch or gives you a new itch, then that documentary, Rules of Engagement, is on YouTube. I think it's definitely worth checking out. It's super interesting.
Yeah, you think you'll get a bunch of Kevin Costner fans tuning in for the song?
They've been a big demographic for me for a long time,
right,
as Kevin Costner fans. It's strange.
Shout out to Kevin Costner and the Postman.
Shout outs to Kevin Costner and Twisted Tea.
Yeah, man. So you guys were not, you mentioned Ben Diesel and the shirt there, but I guess you guys, it's been a little while, but we had our final show as Ben Diesel, but you two have not stopped working together, like you're saying. We're working on this Jason Detroit EP and everything else. I mean, we keep you guys still collaborate all the time, and but DK's got some a new project you're working on, right? You want to talk about that?
Yeah. So this one's in the bag, but so my buddy Rob Severson, he's typically a one-man band known as Googolplexia, but every now and then he has me and Dano and this other dude Pat play along with him. He calls us his North County 3. We'll play on the Pokey Lafarge.
There you go.
So when we play live, it's Rob, and Rob plays either the accordion or the ukulele that he plays through a distortion pedal like a maniac, and then he has Dano play bass, and then Patrick plays like hand drums, and I play this little like tiny kid little toy drum set because why play real drums? But anyway, he wrote this 6-song EP like based on the quarantine times. He called it a virus suite of quarantunes. And I played real drums on it. He let me play actual drums. And so I recorded those from home, and then Dano recorded his bass from home, and and then we had our buddy Mario Vili. He did all the mixing. Mario's up in Brooklyn. He's a St. Louis guy. Used to play in bands like the Pubes and the Sex Robots, and
real wholesome family tunes.
Actually, the tunes themselves work.
Oh, they're great
for the most part. But Mario's just like this real awesome guitar player, engineer, songwriter, all that stuff. So we just had a real good cast of characters to, throw this project together in a couple weeks, and it turned out really awesome. Rob wrote some really great tunes. They're, a little on the goofy side for the most part. But they came together I was just so impressed with how they came together, because when I played my drums, I had like a little click track, and Rob just like playing on the ukulele, just a scratch track, and I'm playing just my drums along this, and like, okay, this might be fine. And then we got those final mixes back from Mario, and I was just like, whoa, You know, there's all these layers and all these vocals and all these guitars and just everything. And I was like, whoa, those are the same drums I recorded? What what did Martin do? Anyway, I'm really proud of it. Rob did a great job. Mario did a great job. Dano, Pat, the other guest musicians. And I think I would like to play a song called The Social Distance Twist for you. Because it's kind of a bluesy barn burner, as they say, about you know, the new dance craze with all the teens these days in the quarantines, if you will.
There you go. And
Just like the Monster Mash.
Yeah, exactly.
Kids, there's a brand new dance that they are mandating. Brand new dance. Because that virus just don't show any signs of abating. Virus, everywhere the virus. And if you're freaking every time you hear a sneeze or a cough, then you gotta try this dance, you know it's really popping off. You've tried the Cupid shuffle, stomp and scroll, the mashed potato too. Wild to see, bad to see, and like your Boogaloo. But listen close and follow closer, and I'll teach you how to ward off that flu. First you get 6 feet away from anybody else. Second step you withdraw so deep into yourself, and to keep from contaminating. Now you're disassociating, and you're at home watching screaming TV shows doing the social distance twist. Well, there's a riot in the soap aisle of every store. It makes you wonder about these people, did they clean themselves before? Dirty, clean yourself. And if you're getting pretty bummed about these signs of regression, pretty bummed, feeling pretty bummed, well, just be glad you don't live all year long with that kind of depression. Happy, let's all dance. The mayor, she's a-telling you she's closing up your town. Don't go to work or school or church or out driving around. But listen close and follow closer, and there's no reason we can't all get down. First you get far away from anybody else. Second step you withdraw so deep into yourself, and to keep from contaminating. Now you're disassociating, and you never have to leave the couch to do the social distance twist. The police, they had a song that said, don't stand so close to me. Don't stand. But the police I've seen around, that's not exactly what they sing. Don't stand so close to me. And the gatherings permitted getting smaller every day. 50, 20, 10, and 5. I hear a curfew in the closing of the state lines on the way. Stay at home, wash your hands, don't touch your face. You got laid off or furloughed, we should all be so lucky. Cause it's true you can't spell distance without DANC. So listen close and follow closer, and you'll all be rock and rolling with me. First step, you stay far away from everybody else. Second step, you withdraw so deep into yourself, and to keep from contaminating. Now you're disassociating. It's the dance to save a billion lives, the social distance twist. Even if no one can tell how cool you are, you do the social distance twist. If your job is non-essential, then you better do the social distance twist. Wash your hands physically and metaphorically, and do the social distance twist. And all the quarantine boppers are inside doing the social distance twist. Talk about the social distance twist. The social distance twist tonight.
You can find more Googolplexia on Bandcamp, right? This is all available now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I know that Googolplexia is a weird word, hard to spell probably. It's with an OL, not like Google, like the search engine.
It's like Google, but with an extra.
It's like
almost.
Google, yeah. anyway, that aside, if that's, we can type it out, whatever. But also you can go to pancakeproductions.bandcamp.com. That's his label. So
Nice.
you can find that all there. It's easier to spell Pancake Productions than Googolplexia.
It says you.
Well, hey, pick your poison, man.
All right.
I'm more of a waffle guy anyway.
Yeah.
There's a great jam at the end. The closer of the EP. It's just like epic jam, and it's called "Drive Through Still Open." And he was inspired. He when this first started, and he wasn't really. I don't know. I guess he wasn't going to work or something. Anyway, everything was real bleak. Nobody knew what was going on, and he drove by White Castle, and they had a sign, just like duct tape or twist tied to the drive-through sign or something. It said "Drive-through still open," and he's like, "Man, that gives me hope."
Right.
That's hope right there, baby.
Can't take the castle down that easy.
No, not at all. It's what you crave, man. Even in a pandemic.
That's one thing that was like, you're talking about that moment and stuff, man. That was like, I remember driving around. I took a drive around town and everybody's like windows, they have like chalk or what, window chalk kind of stuff or whatever, like, and like messages on there, like, drive through open or whatever. But like, it just really reminded me of those, like, all those zombie movies, when they're like, no survivors or whatever, different things like that, like whatever they write on those messages. But I'm like driving around town and like nobody out here, just everything's like, but it just like seems like we're living in that zombie movie and stuff.
A little bit.
I think my favorite I've seen so far was a meme that my wife showed me last night, which was someone who had a bunch of like, words spelled out on their walls, but it was, "This house is a fucking prison."
Oh yeah.
On planet bullshit.
Yeah.
I was like, I imagine there's some households that definitely feel that way right now.
Yeah.
The ones with all the kids that you got to teach while you're working.
Yeah. I don't think I could, I don't know. I do not envy my friends that are having to like entertain their children 24/7 now and having to every day. And just, that's crazy. I don't know how they're doing it.
It's hard. It sounds pathetic, but it's honestly been hard from time to time with two younger, like more energetic dogs, just because they, I think they were used to originally, like, we'd go to work and they'd be, crated for, 7 or 8 hours during the day and then come home and we'd go for a walk or whatever. But now I'm home with them all the time, which is great, and they're super stoked, but there's just like, we've learned these little ticks, and there's just the youngest one, Hank, who's he's being an angel right now. He's a nutcase during the day. He's ridiculous. But I mean, I think, you can't hold a candle to, people who are dealing with, having a bunch of kids at home or people who are out of work or whatever. So I count myself very lucky in that regard. But I do wish my dog would calm down a little bit. So that's my complaint. That's my first world problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. My first world problem is that we've been getting our groceries delivered because just why take the risk if we can
easy Marie Antoinette over there.
Yeah, right. But we've been doing that.
Ivory Tower.
And I just realized that I hate not grocery shopping for myself. I didn't realize how, like, I don't know, almost sacred doing the grocery shopping was for me. But yeah, I miss it. But it's fine. It could be worse, right? I could not get groceries.
Right.
I went to Walmart not too long ago, and
oh, nice.
And they got like arrows. You're supposed to like directional arrows on the aisles, and I don't know. I don't think it's working. I don't think anybody gives a shit about their arrows. I don't.
No. I mean, it's crazy too. Like I've seen, this is I've been lurking in a Reopen Missouri group for a couple of weeks now. I've made a rule to not engage with anyone, and it's very hard sometimes. But I don't feel like it's my space because at its core, for the most part, it's people that just want things to kind of go back to normal. But lots of conspiracy theories and crazies have leaked in there for sure. But I saw some woman yesterday, I think, or the day before, like just on a huge rant, a caps lock misspelt rant about how her rights have been infringed upon because she was asked to go in the indoor and out the outdoor, which she had never really had to do before. Because Walmart, like the doors will open for whoever because the doors like, fuck it, like you're not going to read it anyway. So, who cares that says out or in, just go. Right. But it's like, I don't know that that's necessarily infringing on your constitutional rights. And it's just me, but I'm not going to say anything because I want to stay in this group and watch all you people. So I'm going to lurk in the shadows.
You're such a voyeur.
I know, right? But I think it's interesting to see for sure. I mean, there's aside from the memes about Bill Gates giving everyone 5G virus, there's that's core. There's a lot of good people who just want to get back to work, and who want things to kind of I don't know that we're ever going to get back to normal as it was before, but there's a lot of people who want it to be that way, and I definitely respect that. So I don't know.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm like the break was nice. I've been I'm very blessed and fortunate to be one that I was still collecting a paycheck during this time. So I know a lot of people were that was the biggest struggle is not having income. But so I'm thankful for that. But other than that, I mean, I'm just I'm ready to get back at it, like getting back to work, just because I can only sit for so long, man. It's just starting to get a little stir crazy around here. Luckily I've had some home improvement projects to work on and different things, but it's
for
just
sure.
Something to keep busy. But I can only play
doing a lot of work in the kitchen too.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Dude, you're like a cake baby over there, man. Master chef.
Yeah, well, and the belly's got something to show for it too. So.
I hear you there.
Yeah,
we've been supporting local business real hard.
Yeah, right.
I was telling Nikki, I was like, between the weight gain and my hair growing out, I'm gonna come out of this looking just like a scene kid in high school, like I used to. Just super tight pants and an emo swoop and just too many Fall Out Boy songs, whatever it may be.
Yeah. But I've been that's one thing I've definitely really enjoyed has been getting back in the kitchen and cooking and something I don't really get a lot of time to do when I'm running between two jobs and everything else. And so I've enjoyed taking the time to actually bake and do different things that I enjoy. But so yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah, this really has to be a complete change of pace for you. I mean,
for sure.
Man about town, driving from Wentzville to downtown, daily and
do you ever just get in your car and start driving to St. Louis for no reason before realizing that you didn't have to do that?
Right. Yeah. Well, it was fun.
Shit, no.
Yeah. What was funny is actually one long ago I was looking to acquire some of these those foam screen guards for microphones.
Yeah.
And I put it on something online about it, and a buddy is like, "Hey, I got some. You can just come over here and pick them up." And so and I think I had to go to, this is back in March or something, whatever. So an Oyster Bar had a paycheck for me also. So I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna take a drive down there, get my paycheck, pick up these screen guards. And then so I drove all the way down to Oyster Bar, and I'm driving back home and completely forget about going to get a screen guard. So then I got all the way to my driveway, and I was like, oh shit. And so turned around and drove right back to the city. And so I did, wasn't quite, it wasn't quite doing it on purpose, but I had to do 2 trips to the St. Louis in one day, just for nothing, nothing really.
You live in Wentzville, right?
Yeah.
What, okay. So you're taking 40 to get to the city then, I guess?
Yeah. And it's 40 miles to the city, so that's
what part of Wentzville do you live in?
I live going towards New Melle, though, out in the Z and
my folks still live in New Melle. That's what I was asking.
Yeah,
I think we might be doing our first social distance visit on Sunday for Mother's Day. We haven't been out there since all this has been going on, but we're still debating it. We're not sure if we're gonna pull it or not, because they're kind of right in that wheelhouse of high risk. So it's been a topic of discussion for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, it was just funny to spending, a couple hours driving all over the city and Spent about 200 miles round trip.
Like the before times.
Yeah.
So
I did.
took me right
Similarly,
back.
I had a few weeks ago. I don't know. It was a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago at this point. We realized. So we moved into this house in October. Didn't have to mow the lawn. Over the winter or whatever, and like now it's like, oh, we got to mow the lawn. Grass is growing now, and but we didn't have a lawnmower. So I mentioned it to one of my friends, and one of my friends was like, "Hey, DK, just come out and get our lawnmower. We don't use it anymore. Like we use a different one, or they have a service or something." And they're like, "Yeah, we think it works. I don't know, unless you don't want to do the drive to O'Fallon." I was like, "I welcome the drive to O'Fallon right now."
All right.
Please. Yeah, the lawnmower ended up not working, but so it was a trip for nothing. But it was a really nice day, and I got to drive out with the windows down, and it was awesome.
I went out and delivered. I made some of those. One of the things in the kitchen I made was some of these carrot cake muffins with cheesecake.
I saw those, dude. Those looked so fire. It was ridiculous.
They were real good. And I went ahead and dropped some off at my mother-in-law's. And she's like, "Well, only if you're coming this way. You don't have to make a special trip." And I'm like, "I just need to get out of the house and see some colors, because it's tired of sitting in here." So
yeah,
we've definitely been doing little things around the house, like right before the big lockdown or everything went into effect. I went to Home Depot and kind of stocked up on just your basic home improvement tools and random backyard stuff and a power washer. So we've been doing little things that we can do around the house and buying porch furniture and stuff like that. But
I saw some power wash art. Yeah,
that's I'm staying right on brand with that. Yeah. It was funny because my manager was like, "Yeah, so I saw your power washer video." It was like, for a second I thought you were just going to be drawing dicks, and
that's what I thought. That's what it looked like.
So I'm glad that it had a double layer effect of because it definitely, I'm just not very artistic, so it had nothing to do with an attempted facade. I'm just not good with that. So, but yeah, that's been nice to do, just kind of keep activity up and going outside. But honestly, I love grill season, so there's a lot worse things than being asked to be stuck at home and me get having some whiskey and grilling every night of the week we're able to. I'm totally down with that.
Yeah, man. I mean, despite a little bit of rain, a couple of days, but the weather's been gorgeous out. And that's what sucks the most. We're, not been really, fully be able to enjoy it like we want to. But definitely been trying to capitalize on the grilling and stuff. And
are you a charcoal or propane guy?
Well, I usually am a charcoal guy, and and I take my time to do it right when I can. But a couple of years ago for Christmas, my mother-in-law got us a real nice propane grill for the house, and it's really nice. It's just I know I definitely take the pride in doing it properly with the charcoal, and but it's super convenient when you can light it up and be ready to go in a minute, and then so
there's nothing wrong with a fine grill with propane and propane accessories.
Yeah, right. Yeah, man. Yeah.
My folks growing up, we had a charcoal one for the weekends, but then a propane one for weeknights if we just wanted to grill up some hamburgers or something, which I think was a hard thing for some of my friends when I first got my own place and was inviting them over for grilling. Because I was a charcoal, I'm going to light the grill at 6 and we'll drink for 3 or 4 hours and then maybe eat around 10. And they'd show up hungry at 6. What? It's not ready? I'm like, oh no, you blew this. You should have had a sandwich on your way over or something.
Yeah.
That's not how you grill.
I learned that lesson the hard way.
Just eat some chips, DK.
Speaking of sandwich, a little throwback to when you guys appeared on the show once before with our friends and the Stars Go Out. I decided to bring back some oldies.
Nice.
Those are classic.
And
did we eat? Was it the fireball shot followed by the oatmeal cream pie?
Yeah. The fireball shot and then take a bite of the oatmeal pie.
We're geniuses. I can't believe this isn't more popular at bars around the city.
Yeah, I mean,
surely they can offset that cost wholesale, right?
A little diabetes never hurt anybody.
I'll
Famous last words.
I don't have
twisted tea to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll finish off this ski
Brought to you by our proud sponsors at Fireball.
and Little Debbie.
Little Debbie.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, that's the stuff right there, huh?
Oh, that makes sense.
Oh yeah. Just like the good old days.
I gotta put you guys on hold real quick and run to get my other tea.
You son of a bitch.
I'll leave you with the on the bridge.
All right. See, you should have got the beer bucket, man. I got all my essentials right here.
So let me ask, have you
My fridge was right there.
DK, you interrupted me. I was in the middle of a heart-wrenching soliloquy. Is that where I am on your screen? I was going to make a sign that said you're a sphincter boy, but I didn't know where to put it.
You're here.
Okay, I'm down there.
Shane is here.
This is DK. This is Jason.
I don't trust any of you. I was going to ask, just this is kind of a generic, whatever question, but have you guys had to make any kind of like adaptations or changes, or like what's been helping keep you sane during this, or is it really that much different? I know DK, you were kind of worked from home before this, but you still went out quite a bit.
Yeah, I missed band practice.
Amen.
I missed hanging out with your dumbass 3 nights a week.
I don't know how anyone could miss that. I'm pretty sure Nikki's ready to leave me.
I don't know, man. I'm just happy to be here.
I'm just happy to be here hanging out, playing some music, guys. That's all I want to do.
Mine, I've luckily I dusted off my Nintendo 64, and I've been, keeping myself occupied with that.
So we actually I have a funny story about that. We'd been like, okay, so we're quarantine. What are we gonna do to like? So we tried getting some board games, but board games have been ravaged. And we went like right before the full lockdowns happened, and we came home with like Guess Who and like a political version of Monopoly that just sucks. It's terrible. We both tried to play it a few times. We're like, this sucks. But so I was like, oh, we got 2 N64s in the basement. Let's get like an updated converter. And like we literally spent like 2 hours on a Saturday, and apparently like with some TVs, this sounds bougie. It's not that. We've had this TV for like 3 years. It's just too new to process a signal even with a converter, because we got like an updated RCA to HDMI converter to run through it, and it just would not accept the signal. And then we tried like with the coax, we did everything, like Googled it to the depths of the earth. And then we found out that it hooks up to our tiny, like laptop sized screen in our bedroom. So the other night, her and I were just like huddled around it playing GoldenEye, like at the end of our bed. Like it was like 4th grade all over again. But yeah, the GoldenEye, I saw that you were playing GoldenEye the other day. I was like, yeah, it's classic.
Yeah, man. GoldenEye. I've been playing a lot of NBA Hang Time also. And the game really pisses me off. They're cheating all the time. Like, it's like I'll be like doing pretty well. I mean, we're like, and then
those
like,
algorithms.
It's like the last minute they like every time I take a shot they shove me down, or every time I go take a dunk somehow they manage to steal the ball from me as I'm dunking every time, and they win, and I'm like, yeah, and I get like, so mad.
Joey just texted.
Oh,
get him in there. It's like those memes about capitalism where they're like, I don't understand why the guy in first place doesn't get the blue shell. And it's like, no, the guy in last place gets the blue shell. Actually, Shane, this is something you might appreciate. This is a purchase I made, again, off a pre-order. That was just a ridiculous thing, but it actually ended up being a really cool one that actually like tripled in value as soon as I bought it. Let me see if I can find it.
Because you bought it?
Because I bought it, because I own it. But so it is the vinyl of GoldenEye.
Oh, nice.
For the N64 game. And it came in this GoldenEye, Man with the Golden Gun vinyl with like the watch in the middle. Yeah, I just kind of bought it on a wild hair, and I didn't realize at the time it was like another Reddit thing that was like, Goldeneye vinyl. I was like, I'll check it out. That's cool. And I knew it was one Nikki wouldn't get mad at me about because she loves Goldeneye. And I bought it, and then it showed up, and then I loaded it on Discogs, which is where I you can track all your vinyl and keep it as a collection, just kind of see what you got. And within like 6 days of it being released, it went up like 30% in value. It was worth like $150 because it was such a limited release, which I don't buy stuff to sell it. I buy it because I want to listen to it, but it's a classic vinyl.
Just that menu music on repeat for 3 hours.
No, it's every level, and then it's like reorchestrated with like a full orchestra, so it's like very huge sounding. Right. And it came with like a little proximity mine sticker,
nice.
And a Goldeneye card, and like another, I don't know, it was just a real goofy thing. But the label that did it is called Respawn Records, I think, and they do a lot of video game vinyl. Yeah, so they do a lot of video game vinyl like Doom, and I have the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time on vinyl. I have too much. It's ridiculous.
I like that kind of stuff though, like some of the just off the wall type of weird stuff like that. Like I remember 1 year for a record store day, I went down and I got this. Maybe I don't know if I got it. I think I maybe just got it online. I don't know, whatever it was. But it was like a record store day exclusive thing, and it was it was like a record of the in like a pizza box, and like the pizza looked like the record looked like a pizza.
Oh, that's awesome!
And it was
it Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or something?
It was man, what I'm blanking on the name now. That I think that
Google pizza box record.
Well, I think it might have to do with that fireball kicking in.
Burt Bacharach sings the hits?
Oh yeah, that's it. I was trying to think, man. It was like what shit, man? What is it? Like I'm having a brain fart.
I'm trying to think. Record store day release from last year.
This has been a couple years ago. They're like old. It was old rap group.
Fat Boys.
Fat Boys. Yeah, yep. There it is.
That's what I'm DK found it right here.
There we go. Man, I don't know why I was struggling with it. The Fat Boys. It was like a pizza vinyl in a pizza box, and it was awesome. Yeah, it was pretty sweet.
So actually, DK and I just not too long ago ordered something very similar to that, and actually have the pizza box from a previous release. But Drive Thru Records has started repressing stuff again, and this is just an extra box that James actually from The Stars Go Out gave me. But they're doing a repress, and it's a bunch of the early stuff from Drive Thru Records, which DK used to work for back in the day, actually. So like Something Corporate and Homegrown, a lot of those early pop punk bands. And they're doing a like kind of a throwback, which I think is really cool. And honestly, it's a cash cow because like all the guys that, gave a shit about that music back in the day, for the most part, probably are just like sitting around, buying vinyl. So they know that they're like, oh, these idiots will buy a Something Corporate repress for sure.
Yeah, they're all our age and like have real jobs now.
But I've also been doing this thing for the past couple of years, which has I've been trying to like kind of listen to new music as it comes out, because there's so much music being released every year, obviously, and I think Spotify and other stuff has for a long time made it really easy to just kind of like fall back on familiar stuff that you're used to listening to and not really branch out to new stuff. So, and the working from home has made it way easier because I'm working from home all day. So I'm just listening to music. I don't really have to interact with my colleagues. But each morning I'll go to like a few different websites and pull like reviews of new albums that came out that day or whatever, and then kind of go through and listen and rank them. And this year so far, I've listened to 135 albums that have come out. And there's only been 2 of them that I couldn't get all the way through. They were rated terrible. and one of them was the new Justin Bieber album. And I actually like some Justin Bieber stuff, but that was horrible. But I've been doing it for sure. But I've been doing it for a couple of years, and I think that's been something that's been kind of helping me get through this as it goes, but also leading to me spending a ton of music money. Because
do you have a contender for album of the year so far?
Yeah, right now it's probably the Violent Soho album. Everything is A-OK. That's probably my favorite so far. Shane, if you haven't listened to them, Violent Soho, they're from Australia. Right. And it's got like heavy 90s alternative rock vibes with like kind of an updated, punk sort of feel to it. But that's a great album.
I was going to make the joke that the other record you couldn't listen to all the way was the Jason Detroit EP.
Yeah, I haven't been able to make it through yet.
It doesn't.
No, I think embarrassingly and honestly enough, I can't imagine I'm the only one that has themselves as one of their top played artists on Spotify every year at the end of year wrap up. We all just kind of edit it so we don't show that, like, oh, here's the hours I listened to most this year. But number one is always yourself.
Yeah. Let's give a big shout out to Adam Donald for.
Yes, I actually found out he lives like 2 streets down from me. He pulled up alongside me in his van about a month or two ago during a walk, and he's like, "Hey," I was like, "Oh, hey, I know you."
Yeah, I really love my artwork that he created too. Like,
what you use the microphone, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, my face on the end of a microphone, and it's pretty well done.
I've actually, I knew him from way back in like the Midwest Music Pit days. Cause he went, I don't know what he was friends with like a group of friends that I hung out with via that group, but I don't think we went to the same high school. I'm pretty sure he was either an O'Fallon kid or a Winslow kid, but I think he was in a band back then called A Lion in the Capitol. I could be totally misremembering this, but I'm pretty sure he was like a skinny jeans, long haired kid, just like me back in the day. And, we somehow find ourselves in the cradle of,
if not, he is now.
Yeah. Right. That's what we're hoping for.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think that's another great example of the people doing something to just kind of help out the community and showcasing their talents to do it. And he's, done some really cool stuff with that.
Yeah, man.
So we know what we're talking about here, but one of you guys want to take the lead and talk,
sure. Well, so Adam took it upon himself to
Shane, you take the lead.
All right. I'm doing. So he took it upon himself to raise a little money for the community, for various some of his favorite spots. I mean, I think one day was off Broadway, one day was Heavy Anchor, and these couple venues like that. And people donated a couple bucks, and he draw a nice little piece of art, and that's how we get the Jason Detroit logo with dinosaurs, aliens, and pizza, and all kinds of fun stuff. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean the requests were incredible. Yeah, he did. Yeah. I mean, he was so quick at pumping them out.
There was that one person. I don't know who the person was who would have him draw something and then print it out for their kid to color in, and then later in the day would post the picture that their kid colored. Because it's all like black and white, outlines like this, and it's really funny.
I'd actually mentioned really to him when we were messaging after I showed him this. I think at the time I was like, I'm gonna get stickers made of this, but I doubt that registered or whatever. And I sent him the final version of it, and he's like, oh, I would have colored it in, but I threw out the idea of maybe once the EP is finished of having him color like animated video for it, because he did that for one of his, and I thought it was super rad. So I would love to have him do something like that for it.
So good. It's so good.
It's incredible.
Adam, you do great work, my friend.
You look like you could be an animated character in a TV show.
Yeah.
Like has anyone thought up the webcomic yet? Patent this. The webcomic it's an actual sentient microphone. That is the podcast is being spoken into. It's brilliant. Yeah. Trademarked.
Well, it's on the record here now, so I mean,
here we go.
Yeah. Mail it if you have to put it on a disc and then mail it, and then it's date stamped. Do it before the post office it fails. Do it before that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, luckily we got Kevin Costner, so
He's the postman,
Yeah.
and he's a bodyguard, and he can dance with wolves.
he can do it all, man. I've said that for years.
If only he had something to do with like a world that was covered in water.
Yeah.
I don't know if that'd be cool.
And talk to angels, you know.
How dare you?
Angels in the outfield?
How dare you?
Wait, that's something else.
Actually, back in the day, that was one of my buddy's favorite jokes about me being adopted. Was from Angels in the Outfield that my dad would come back if the Angels won the pennant. He loved that. He'd throw it out every chance he got.
When the
I haven't
Angels
thought about
won the
that in
pennant?
years. That's classic.
How do you take your coffee? In cups. God, I watched that movie so many times.
With Susan Sarandon, she was in it.
Well, I watched. I haven't watched in a while, but it popped up in my memories, and along with Angels in the Outfield, around that same era was
Schindler's List.
yeah, and Rookie of the Year.
Yes,
That's a classic.
Yeah, another classic baseball
With
film.
the elastic, like the snapping arm thing. Yeah.
yeah.
Funky butt loving.
I remember I saw that movie when it came out. I was like 9, and I saw that movie in the theater by myself. And I don't know why. Maybe it's because I didn't have any friends. But at the time, I thought I was very cool because Mom just like dropped me off at the theater, and I watched this movie that I was so into.
I was going to say, how are you doing that? But I was like, it was Troy, so that was fine.
It wasn't Troy. We lived in North County at the time. That was before we moved to Troy. And she just took me, and then I think she dropped me off at the theater, and then I think like went and hung out with Grandma, and then came and picked me up. I don't know. I thought I was so cool because I saw a movie by myself, but like looking back, I'm like, maybe I just didn't have any friends. I can't imagine why my brother didn't go with me. He was just like a year younger than me, but yeah, whatever.
Here's a question for you. Have any of you guys ever fallen asleep during a movie, like in the theaters?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What were the circumstances? Was it just 'cause it was boring, or were you tired, or what happened?
Midnight movie, and I had been drinking.
That's my exact same scenario. But the question is, what was your movie?
It was one of the newer Batman ones, like Batman. What was the one with? What was the one the
1 hour photo?
No, it was the one with Heath Ledger.
The Dark Knight.
Yeah, The Dark Knight. That movie was awesome. But
I can't believe you fell asleep during that.
But I'd been drinking, and it was like 1:30 in the morning, and sitting in the dark theater. I don't know.
Yeah, midnight movies are hard to do.
Well, they do make these theaters too comfortable now. Yeah, you get like
too dark, too comfortable.
You lean back in the recliner, and you're like, all right, well, I'm gonna take a nap now.
Yeah, exactly.
I think mine was the Oliver Stone for George Bush with like Josh Brolin or something as George Bush. It wasn't a very good movie. I don't know why we stayed up till midnight to go see it. That was really dumb looking back. It was pretty stupid, but yeah, we didn't make good decisions back then.
Oh, I think we have a special guest.
Oh, sweet.
Joseph.
Hey!
Joey!
There they are.
Hey,
No,
man.
there you are.
What's up, boys?
Hey,
Hey, handsome.
we were just talking about Rookie of the Year and Angels in the Outfield.
And Josh Brolin.
Man.
Some classics.
And drinking Fireball with oatmeal cream pies.
Nice. Fiery cream pie.
Yeah. Yeah, that hair.
He said the magic word.
We were in that exact room that you're in right now, where we first had that shot in that room.
That is it too. Can you bring me
We need Frank in here to talk about the molasses spill.
the great molasses spill of 1812?
Man, we thought he was messing with us. He was not. That's a real thing, and I've read extensively about it since then.
I don't know how you couldn't. He based his whole life on it.
He still does. Yeah, he loves
That's
it.
all he talks about.
Dude, that picture popped up not long ago of Jason like sitting there with his balls like white around his.
Just I don't know what I was doing, but it was probably not appropriate.
That makes me laugh so hard though. It's so funny.
Oh man,
That was a party. That was a
Joey,
party
I'm
in a
digging
podcast.
I'm digging that hair, man.
Who,
Joe
me?
has,
Yeah,
Joe
man.
has the best hair.
It's a wig.
Yeah.
You look like James's high school yearbook photo.
That's awesome.
How you doing,
Yeah.
buddy? It's been a
No,
long time.
Super good. Haven't been to the hair cutter in a long time, wherever they call those things.
Who knows?
But yeah, just hanging out, living our best lives at home, of
Yeah.
course. Anxious for this new Jason Detroit album to come out.
Yeah.
The Jason Detroit album to come out. So
I-
excited for that.
Joey, I've been thinking about you a lot recently because, well, just in general, but also
I think
because
about you a lot.
Nikki has never watched It's Always Sunny before, so we've been watching it from the beginning. And of course, you know, there's a million references to Sweet D, but it's just been, you know, a blast referencing, going back through all the episodes. She just saw the Gang Gets Invincible last night where they try out for the Eagles. When she's like, "This is my favorite episode so far." I was like, "It's only going to get better. You have no idea what you're in store for."
I'm so excited for her. I didn't know she'd never seen it before.
I was like,
That's
the
so-
collapse of Rickety Cricket is perhaps one of the best things ever to happen in television.
You're
You guys
almost
can't handle-
a little jealous for her that she gets to experience it for the first time.
I told her that. I was like, because I started watching that back like in real time back in Columbia, and there were so many like miserable hungover mornings waking up at like 3 a.m. with that DVD menu just playing on repeat. And it's like, oh my God, shut it off, please.
Like that time that you and I, when we were on the road in Columbia, and Frank.
Oh yeah, just tortured Frank with that. We left a Saturday Night Live DVD menu playing all night because he said the saxophone drove him crazy. And
He still hates the saxophone.
It was just that menu playing, and you know, it's that like 30-second loop. It's like,
It's just over. It was like the best of Will Ferrell or something ridiculous like that.
Damn you, G.E. Smith.
yeah.
I was actually just talking with a buddy of mine the other day. He was talking about like the best Saturday Night Live episodes of all time, and I was like, to me, you know, I still think it's the one where Garth Brooks hosted and Chris Gaines was the musical guest,
Yeah.
and all the music throughout. But it features that great skit where Will Ferrell's the devil, and he's trying to like. He basically Garth Brooks is selling his soul to write a love song, but the devil can't write one. And the songs that Will Ferrell does are Zorgus, Borgus, I just got bit by the love bug. It's so terrible.
I have to go back.
Oh,
and
man.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it's so funny. It's
Son of a bitch. Is this out of tune?
Yes.
It's got one of the great Jimmy Fallon and Rachel Dratch skits where they're the Boston couple and they're applying for a job at like a Cracker Barrel or something. They can come in here smelling like a bottle of screwdrivers. It's like, you told me vodka didn't smell. It's like, I don't know. Yeah.
Well, Joey's got himself a beverage. I think everybody's got himself a beverage. I'm going to crack open this bad boy, thinking that it's
there you go.
How could you be so insensitive?
being, you know, Cinco de Mayo and all. I figured I might as well drink something a little appropriate.
A little bit.
That's like a
Cheers,
double entendre for today right now.
There you
Cheers,
go.
cheers to me, amigos.
Yeah, man.
Cheers.
Oh yeah. Let's hit your lips.
A couple of years ago, I was the first time I ever went to the Cinco de Mayo on Cherokee, and it was an absolute blast. I'm really missing that this year for sure. It was always it's funny too because like I'm not a big like back in the past I loved day drinking. It was a blast. Occasionally I'm still as up for it as I used to be, but like the St. Patrick's followed by Mardi Gras followed by or whatever order followed by Cinco de Mayo is just kind of like it's a lot, and then especially when it's cold and miserable outside. So we were like, let's do one, event like that a year. And it was always going to be Cinco de Mayo because it started being warm and nice out. So definitely missing that this year. That was a good time for sure.
Yeah, man. And I always have great local music down there too, of course. And
So
I think
one of the things
Thorax was there one year.
Yeah. So one of the things that I was talking about Rob earlier with Googolplexia. He every year for the Cinco de Mayo, he would always host or lead or something. He would MC something. And I think they called it like Cinco de Volvo or something. And so like, everybody who had like an old, like early 90s Volvo like he did, they would have like a mini parade, and he would have somebody drive his car while he would sit on top of the Volvo with his accordion, and I'm sure he was wearing a sombrero and stuff. I just love that guy. I think he's my kind of maniac.
That's super cool.
Drinking out of a pineapple usually, I think. Drinking like margaritas. I don't know. That guy rules, and he's gonna watch this and be like, DK. He's either gonna hate it or he's gonna love it. But
You totally misrepresented me.
you totally misrepresent my brand, Dan. Oh no.
We were talking some 90s movies earlier, guys.
Yeah.
And I think it's only appropriate we get, now we have Joey here also. Talking about, they announced today, as we're recording this, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 30th anniversary, and they're going to do a virtual pizza party over Zoom. They had apparently they had other plans, but of course all this messed it all up. But they're going to do a pizza party online, and they're going to have some of the. They had April announce it, and I think they're going to have some other people from the original movie involved.
Those turtles have to be super old by now, though. The ones they made mutants for the first couple movies,
right?
They'd have to do new ones or something.
Luckily, turtles live like forever, though. So I think we're good. So
hi, buddy. Think they're gonna have Casey Jones?
They better.
Yeah.
Oh man, that dude. So
last I heard, Casey Jones was driving a train high on cocaine.
Fair. So actually, just a couple weeks ago, Sarah and I watched the original movie, and she had never seen it before. And so I'm thinking it's hilarious because I grew up on it. I watched it, 100 times or whatever. And I'm doing all the lines. I'm like, with Raph, I'm like, damn, I lost my son, and all that stupid stuff. But as we're watching it, and as I'm like looking at her reaction, I'm like, this didn't hold up, did it? But still, we watched till the end. I was like, yeah, no.
Did you show her Secret of the Ooze, though? Because that one's got some real plot twists.
Ninja, rap.
Man, I'm pretty sure it won a couple Oscars and stuff. So.
Oh yeah, easily.
De La Hoya's.
Yes.
Sorry, everybody. I'm going to log off. It's probably for the best.
Along the lines of what you were just talking about, Shane, though, they're having like the virtual pizza party or whatever. I guess like 2 weeks ago, they had like a similar thing. They had like a YouTube live stream of That Thing You Do with the original band, the band from the movie The Wonders. So all four of the dudes got together like this. There was just like four squares, and they were just talking about it, and they'd bring in like all the they'd have some like guests show up like at their part of the movie, and like, oh hey guys, I haven't seen you in 20 years, what else good, whatever. It was just really awesome. So we got to kind of watch the movie, but also hear them reminisce. And they so Tom Hanks didn't show up for it, but his son Colin did, and Colin was like a real bit role in the movie. He played he escorted Liv Tyler into that scene in the show where they played at the Ed Sullivan or whatever, but he must have been a teenager at the time, and he has this photographic memory of everything that happened. So like he would be like, oh man, yeah, this scene was like this person and this person at this place, and it was at this look, and like he had all this like insider memory of all this stuff because he grew up on set, and I thought that was awesome. And plus he sounds like his dad, so it was kind of comforting to have that Hank's voice going on. It was very cool, very cool.
Love
that was
it.
I guess was the 25th anniversary. and they auctioned off a test press of the soundtrack on vinyl, which they're going to release, I guess, later this year. But the test press at the auction ended up going for like $5,000.
Whoa!
Oh my God!
They were raising for this charity. I think it was called Music Cares. It was like supporting musicians, like in this time, that we live in, this 1985 B
Bizarro world.
Now. Yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool.
I enjoyed Jason's gratuitous crotch shot during your story.
Yeah.
gotta love Jason for doing that. Hey Jason, is that one of those pens from my old company?
Dude, I love these pens.
It's such a great pen.
I've had this pen for like 9 years. It's so good.
I was using one today.
I'm going to try to do this because the last time I did, it didn't go well, but I think I did it properly. It could be fucked up, but here we go.
It's backwards.
Did I do it right? I did it back. Wait, is it showing backwards? Because I wrote it the right way the first time and it didn't show up. Is this right?
Yeah,
Does that work?
A sphincter says what?
What?
So I actually took the time to figure out how to write it backwards too. So that's what I was doing
So
during that
way.
portion. Sorry, everybody. Jason Detroit EP coming out this year. Be sure to check it out.
It's coming at you whenever we can get together again.
Yeah.
This is actually probably the appropriate one. This guy is a sphincter.
What's new with you, Joe? Now that you're joining this conversation, and you're representing the business down here on your T-shirt, also.
Yeah, I just got off work, so not shameless self-promotion, but
It's his uniform.
But also shameless self-promotion.
but also,
But also circling back to something we talked about before, Andy Binder on the T-shirts.
yeah, it's Andy.
Yeah.
He does so good. Yeah. No, we're doing good though. Hanging in there, playing a lot, just kind of like writing by myself. So it's so lonely.
I miss my friends.
But
For sure.
we're I don't know. I think we're gonna come out of this. It's gonna be really awesome. But very, very much looking forward to that day when we start playing.
I was telling someone the other day, I was like, the last Jason Detroit EP came out on Record Store Day, and I don't think that's going to happen this year. But then I saw it got pushed back to September, so I was like, maybe it could potentially happen by September. You never know.
We'll see.
It's those moving goalposts work great for me. So I'm totally fine with that.
Dude,
But
that would be
yeah.
so cool.
But the new Star stuff sounds super sick too.
Oh man, thank you. Thanks for saying that. Yeah, it's I don't know. It's weird, like just like Frank, he wants to play nonstop, so he's just like hitting me up all the time. He wants to play. And it's like so hard to like figure out when it's okay to like start playing again, and I don't know. Just nobody knows anything right now. It's so
Have
weird.
you guys done any like back and forth stuff as far as like sending music to each other? Or does like Frank have a recording set up at home, or just drums, or are you kind of the main source for recording stuff?
He's got his electric kit at home. He's got an iPhone, but he hasn't been able to put the two together to record anything to send.
It's tough.
It's not the ideal setup. It's just an iPhone as your interface. Yeah.
I have actually. I put my little pig nose amp on my desk. So like during the day, if I have like sometimes we have these meetings or whatever that I don't really participate in, I just kind of sit there. So I can kind of just, dick around and play guitar during it and stuff. But also not all the outlets in my house are grounded. So it's nice because the pig nose isn't a grounded outlet. So it makes it really accessible here.
Just blow up at any time.
For sure. 100%.
For the best.
So I mean, so he doesn't really have the capability to like send you guys stuff or like work on it and throughout.
Yeah. No, not at all. So I just kind of been putting like parts together, and Me and James work together, so we do jam together from time to time. And then me and Julie, we play it at the house. She hadn't left the house in probably 6 weeks.
Yeah, I can't imagine. That's super brutal. Is she? But the shop is still going online, right? The Prickly Pear.
I think so. Yeah. I didn't even ask.
No idea.
No idea what my wife's doing. No.
No, she's doing all kinds of stuff. She's doing great. But yeah, we play guitar together and all that. But we might do some videos or something. But it's just, I don't know. It's real hard to like get excited about playing right now, just because you just have no idea when you're able to get out and share it. And you know, I don't want to write or I don't want to record anything without Frank, and I don't know when we're going to see him again. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, so much stuff going on. It's crazy, but
yeah,
I don't know. But yeah, but we're doing the best we can. Everybody is.
Yeah, man.
I mean, I think in a way, it kind of highlights a divide between, like, there's people who were kind of all in, like doing, like music was like what they were like going for, like is their income, playing out every night and that kind of thing. But then there's also, people who are just kind of like playing music for, enjoyment and sanity, and like being able to like have a way to blow off that steam and get together with friends and, party and do something creative and stuff still. And it's kind of a weird, block when you have like, I don't know. It's a weird divide, because like it's not a self-pitying thing, but it's like he's still kind of, it sucks to not being able to like get together with your friends and jam and play, when it was a way to like just have a good time and kind of blow off some steam and enjoy everyone.
Yeah, for sure. So
I think we should drop in a Stars Go Out song.
Yeah, there's some. Yeah, you got some new hotness.
Yeah. Do you have something you want to leak out there? Do you have a newer song? Or if I was going to make a request, I have a Spotify playlist going of a bunch of my local favorites, and I put Aliens on there, and it pops up every now and then, and it's one of my favorites.
Aliens.
Sure, that'd be beautiful. Yeah, that'd be awesome. We'd love that.
Yeah, man. It's a fun one for sure.
stories. We told her long before she believes in aliens. She believes in aliens. She said, don't talk about that. Don't talk about it anymore. She's heard the stories. We told her long before.
Aliens was on the dinner playlist at my wedding. It's one of my favorite tunes.
There you go.
That's a song I believe Joe wrote to mess with Julie, right? Pretty
Oh
much.
yeah. Tell the story of aliens.
I wouldn't mess with her. It's just something that happened. I just wrote it down and put it all together. But yeah, it's a true story. We're just she's from Kansas City, and I'm from like out in the country or whatever. And we were driving out to my parents' house, and there was like a light you could see out in the woods, which, you know, anybody that's from the country, you can tell it's like a barn light or whatever. And she's like, what is that over there? And I was like, I don't know, it's probably aliens or something. And then she got real serious and just like so upset. And then that was the night that I found out that she was petrified of the thought that there's aliens out there. Yeah. So
Nice.
that's what it sounds about.
Which is fairly topical right now because
It is,
the FBI is saying there's UFOs flying around and everything else, and
yeah,
I saw a great meme that was like it's like the coronavirus is going on and the government's like, look, there's UFOs.
Yeah,
look,
right.
check this out. And we're like, we don't give a shit. We've known that forever.
Right.
Yeah, we know Tom DeLonge. We know.
Yeah,
we know what
we
that-
all grew up listening to Aliens Exist. We know how that works.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, man. It's weird stuff though. Like I've been doing this podcast with my buddy Gabe, and he's all about it. You know, like he wants to discuss it, and I'm like, it's really bad when the FBI releases, UFO footage, and that's not even the weirdest story of the year. Like, it's like we, like
Not by a long shot.
right? Yeah, I mean, like there's so many other crazy things that have happened this year already, and yeah, like you're saying, like just like Jason said, everybody's like, yeah, we know, like, oh well, like it doesn't nobody's bothered by it.
Well, there was that video I saw. A buddy of mine posted it not too long ago, but like basically, it was like a January 2020 version of yourself talking to an April 2020 version of yourself, and the January version was like, "Oh my God, how are things with the Australian wildfires?" And the April version was like, "Oh yeah, that happened, right?
Yeah.
The Australian wildfires, that was a thing. I
Yeah.
totally forgot about that." And she's like, "There's something worse that happens than the Australian." And he's like, "Oh yeah, oh
We
yeah."
got so much travel planned. It's
Do you have any hobbies or like anything you can do at home, like by yourself and enjoy? And she's like, "No." It's like, yeah, take up knitting or something.
Yeah.
You figure something out.
Apparently, Jason's taking up origami down there.
I'm actually, my frog didn't turn out how I had hoped, so I made a paper airplane.
There you go. I just I've been watching The Office. I just finished the series the other day, and I remember watching the paper airplane one, and that was cracking me up. There you go.
I had a funny Office.
Shout out to
thing where-
Stanley.
So like a couple of years ago, I had really never finished The Office, but for some reason I felt confident going around telling people that I thought Andy was like the most morally upstanding person in The Office because I had only seen up to a certain point. And then I kind of watched him after the Angela thing, and I was like, holy shit, he's a terrible person. And now all these people probably think I'm a fucking idiot because he sucks. He's an awful person. And so I think I specifically went on my way to message the few people I had that conversation and be like, just so you know,
Yeah.
I just finished The Office. Andy Bernard, not a good person. I don't feel good about that assessment. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to go back to Creed. Team Creed all the way.
Creed was never trying to hide who he was.
The last man who crossed me, his name, Creed Bratton.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
We've been watching the Schitt's Creek though. That show is pretty fantastic. If you haven't watched that yet on Netflix, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I haven't gotten into that one. I need to check it out.
See you, Joe.
Bye.
He's back.
Julie's calling me.
I really started any series and stuff. I probably should do that, but I just I started The Office like when it was like on this air, and then like I got into it like way late, and then like I just recently went back and started over, and then I took a break for a while, and then I just finished the series. So it was fun to finally catch up to everybody that was from 2005 or whatever. So
Have you watched Parks and Rec as well?
no, I haven't watched Parks and Rec.
That was pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
I saw, there's a lot, they're kind of by the same guy in some regards. The same, I think, executive producer who brought The Office, Mitchell something. He did the same thing for Parks and Rec as far as creating it. But I always felt like Parks and Rec was kind of more of like a lighthearted one. Like there wasn't as much heavy, like, not that, sometimes that's compelling television, but sometimes you just kind of want to tune out. And I thought that Parks and Rec kind of brought all those like quirkiness of the characters you love from, The Office, but did a good job of making it like not as heavy handed. I don't know. And maybe it was its own way of making fun of government because they all have jobs in government as opposed to a paper company. But
Right.
I don't know. I thought it was a fun one.
Oh, Hank getting a little spotlight.
Yeah, he's got a very nice outer space collar.
There you go.
Because we believe in aliens.
Hey.
He's so handsome.
But he constantly demands attention. Hi, buddy. Let's see what Mom's doing.
Yeah. Well, guys, I think we can wrap this up. This has been a ton of fun getting to hang with you all. I really I've been having a lot of fun with this tonight. It has nothing to do with the alcohol.
We say that all the time.
Yeah. I truly appreciate your friendship, and it's been fun getting to see you guys. And hopefully next time I see you will not be through this computer screen, that we can actually all hang out.
Absolutely,
That'd be nice.
man. Miss you a lot. Thank you for doing this for us.
Yeah, man. Miss you guys.
Thanks,
as well.
So if you're you haven't yet, be sure to follow Joe with The Stars Go Out. Follow Jason Detroit, and you can find DK drumming on the Googolplexia record we mentioned, and all kinds of other projects. These guys are, and and if you learned anything on this podcast, this guy's a sphincter.
Nice.
All right. Love you guys. I'll see you
See
soon.
See you later. Stay safe.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.